every wedding photographer and videographer wants to be different. There's a lot of competition out there, especially in the photography world, and you have to kind of stand out to be able to create a sustainable business plan. So we're going to talk today a little bit about what we do and how we stand out in the market, in the industry that we're in.
Yeah, and I think we'll share some insights on what we've done to try to make us stand out a little bit. I feel like sometimes maybe when you're a new photographer or videographer, you kind of just want to blend in so that you're just as good as everybody else. But I think that the opposite is better, in the sense of you want to do things a little bit different. You want to make an impact, make a statement. You want to find your style as quickly as you can, which could change too, right? Like ours has evolved like crazy just because I think we evolve, right? And we change as humans. One of the main things that we want to talk about today is just how to make sure that you're doing things in a way that is lighting you up too. Like, we're all creative people. We're doing this because we love it and because we're creatives, and like, this isn't a job for somebody that wants to sort of do it for fun. Like, it really is something that you have to pour your entire being into to really see it get to the level that we're at anyways.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good point that you can't just pick up a camera and be like, I'm just wanting to do it to make money. You have to do it for all the other reasons where you're putting something new out in the world, you're creating something. It's a work of art, right?
Yeah.
And you have to obviously keep your clients happy. This is a big thing where you have to make sure that you're meeting all the demands, that you're transparent through the whole process, and that you're creating kind of an experience that from the first time that they contact you to after the wedding, that somebody will remember to be able to refer you, because referrals is definitely a huge part of this business. Yeah. And you have to be really personable. If you're this cold guy that doesn't talk to anyone and just sits in a corner and just gets the photos. No, it takes a lot of a thought and effort to be a creative in the service industry like we are.
I feel like we've always had a bit of a business first approach. I don't know if that's just for me or whatever. I feel like the creative side, you have definitely, I feel like, a little bit more of a creative.
Really? I would think the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, you're more creative than I am.
No, I think I have like vision, whereas you can just like put it together creatively. Like, you can take my vision and put it together, if that makes sense.
If I have a set of rules to follow, then I like doing that. But there's just like a rush on a wedding day that you get that I have never experienced in any other job that I've had.
Yeah. What's cool, I started thinking about, jobs that people do. I was at the dentist, of course, and all I could think is that as he's drilling my teeth, I would hate doing that job, like 8 hours a day. I'm sorry to all the dentists out there. Just drilling teeth all day, like, sure, you're making money and like maybe that does light you up, but I just think like we get to be around people who are, hopefully it's like the happiest day of their life, and they're like so happy. Everyone's so happy to be there. It's usually just such a joyous, beautiful moment that everybody will remember, and we get to be there and be part of it. And I mean, like, we do that for a living, which is kind of crazy to me sometimes when I think about it that way. And places like the dentist, or changing the oil place or something, like, I just feel like, how much joy are you getting out of that? I don't know, but I couldn't do those things.
Yeah, but the joy really comes out of seeing the clients happy at the end. I think that's one of the big things that keeps me going, the recognition of, wow, you made something so cool, and this is more than we expected, it's beyond our expectations, whatever it is. And that really just keeps me going wedding after wedding. And I kind of miss that in the off season where we are now. I'm fiending for it. I'm like, come on, somebody just praise me already.
True. Then that's where we have to create content, and then people will praise us on the content that we still create from their weddings. But
it took us a while to get here, right? Like, at the beginning, when you're just starting out, really it's about getting your name out there. It's building a portfolio.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do it is, unfortunately, to shoot for free. We've all
strategically,
yeah.
Not just like, hey, I'm going to shoot this for free. No, like it's a strategic thing, I think, anyways. But yeah, we've all been there. We all have to start somewhere. I think to get to this level, you really need to be putting in time in all the other stuff. It's not just what comes out of the camera. right? Like what comes out of the camera is such a small part, I feel like, of what we do.
You could be the best photographer and come up with the most creative shots, but if your marketing and business game is not
or your
good,
client experience.
yeah, exactly. Like nobody's going to be able to find you if you're not good at marketing, and if you're not making your clients happy throughout the process, if you're not communicating well with them, it's really tough to get them to refer you. They're going to be like, well, yeah, he takes great photos, but he takes 3 months to reply to an email.
Or it takes like 6 months to deliver a final project. There's things that I think everybody needs to understand that we've worked really hard on to get to where we're at, and I think that we'll be able to share hopefully some insights so that you can also bring your game to the next level.
Yeah, one of the first things I want to talk about is our pricing structure, which has changed
Countless
a lot.
times.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like every year we're reviewing what we're offering. If we're doing all-inclusive packages, if we're doing a la carte, if we're doing build your own package, if we're doing 1 shooter, 2 shooter, how many hours in each package, all of that has changed over time, and we've landed at pretty much we offer a little bit of both. We've done full
that could
inclusive.
change.
Yeah, exactly.
That could change.
That's right now we offer that.
That could change.
But who knows? Maybe soon we'll offer content creator packages. Who knows?
As a new person, that's probably one of the main things you think about is like, how do I price things? And
How do I price myself?
How do I like put this together? And honestly, all of us are just winging it. Like we're just trying to figure it out too. And honestly, what one thing works versus another, at the end of the day, it's about the numbers, right? So how many people are booking you and are they happy with what they get out of it? I think that's kind of the best way to gauge what your pricing should be. And yeah, so our pricing right now is a bit of both, like you said.
For the last few years, what we've done is offered full inclusive packages, and we did that because we thought every piece of the package was just as important as the other. So for example, we would do 8-hour day, would have 2 shooters, and on the video side would come with the edits of the teaser, highlights, ceremony, and speeches. Drone was included, you get raw footage, so we really captured everything that you could get. And then on the photo side, you would get all your edited images, you would get a custom USB, an engagement session. We kind of pieced it all together, but as the times change, we've had a lot of people reach out to us and say, oh, we loved you, but you're out of our budget, And depending on the time of year.
Or not even budget. I mean, sometimes it was like they are from out of town, so they're not going to do an engagement session. And we'd be like, oh, well, it's included. And we've priced it into it, but we've figured out we could remove it, right? Like, and just sort of see, like, what is our base minimum that we want to be making on a wedding day, essentially, right? And so that's where I think we've come up with this other option where it's build your own. If you don't need an engagement session, or you don't want a custom USB, or you don't want a second shooter, right? Like you just want 1 shooter for the day. You have that option now, which is new for us because I don't think we've ever done that. I think it's always been kind of this whole inclusive package for a long time. So far, I think it's been doing okay. It just gives people an option. If they really want to work with us, but they don't necessarily want to invest in the full Monty, the full experience, then at least they're still getting a really good photographer, a really good videographer, but they're just not having to pony up all the money.
Yeah, and I think it's our responsibility when we meet with these clients for the first time to explain to them what kind of package and why they would want it a certain way. True. A lot of people will say, oh, of course, it's cheaper to go with the 1 shooter, so let's just do a single shooter one. And then all of a sudden they tell you that they're getting ready in 2 separate locations and they want both covered. It's like, well, did you really think about that? Maybe you do need a second shooter a portion of the day at the very least, or getting ready somewhere, they have a church somewhere else, and there's a venue somewhere else, and that travel time will eat up a lot, but they think they could do it all in 8 hours. But we find that it's just better to educate them and tell them straight up, you're going to need more time.
Or they're going to end up paying for it in the end, or they're going to lose something in the end, right? So some people will be like, oh, I don't really want prep. And I think the misunderstanding there is that prep is not like the second you sit down to get your hair and makeup done. Prep is actually you essentially just getting in your dress. For saving purposes, really, you're not sort of saving too much if you're going with an 8-hour package and skipping prep. Do you not want to have that? Do you not want to do a reveal with your dad, or a reveal with the girls, or some fun stuff with the guys in the morning? If you don't really want any of that and you just want to skip straight to a ceremony, then I feel like we've done that, and it's harder, I feel like, when those days have happened to us where we just don't have that connection with everybody, right? Like there's no real warm and fuzzy feeling when we're chatting with the groomsmen to get them to do stuff, or the bridesmaids, or, you know, the family, because we just showed up and captured the ceremony and then now we're telling them what to do, right? Whereas they didn't really have that sort of feeling in the morning that we would normally have given them. Now, one of the highlights that we have worked countless hours on is our workflow system, and it changed the game for us. I feel like when I see people who've said they have a million emails at all times, that they have so many questions from their clients, I feel like we've come up with a system that's truly based on what we feel those questions would be and sort of the timing of them, and we've created this automation system that sends them questionnaires and sends them links to book in our calendar that's open for booking a timeline meeting or booking an engagement session and booking to pick up their USB. Like all of that is sort of, we've thought of that process sort of end to end. And over the years, it'll be so funny because every once in a while I'll get an email and it'll be like 2 days before like that specific email is meant to go out to the client. And so I just know that we've completely like tweaked it to be like right on time, if that makes sense, for most people when they start to think of certain parts of the day. And so what that looks like is questionnaires, right? So understanding them and what their day looks like and who their family is and what we need to know in terms of, are they doing a first look, or where's the prep locations, like all the sort of base, we call it like the baseline family details that we need to understand. That is all sort of taken care of through this questionnaire. And then we have another questionnaire that really says, okay, like what do you want captured, right? And what's important to you, right? Or maybe we need to add, are you doing any TikTok trends to it now? But essentially, we need to have that information so that we can build a timeline together. And in that process, it'll also say, okay, now it's time to book a timeline meeting so that we can build a timeline that allows for us to capture all of these moments that maybe we've thought of or that you've thought of or whatever. And then that's when we build the timeline. And that really ensures that on the wedding day, you don't have to worry about what we're doing, right? We are following the timeline. We're following all the details that we've talked about through there, so that way you don't have to worry about those things. That's literally our job, is to follow that and capture as much of that as we possibly can. And that's made a huge difference in not only our world, but also our clients. Our clients don't ever say they haven't heard from us. Like, I've never heard that.
Yeah, nothing's worse than seeing a Facebook post of somebody complaining that they haven't heard from their vendor, or that it's taking a while to get back, or whatever it is. It's like our nightmare.
Yeah, it's literally our nightmare. Like, unless I went to junk and I just didn't see it, it just doesn't happen.
Even then, even if they send something and it goes to junk, our automated system will still send them the information as we get closer to the date.
True.
Maybe not specifically what it is, but at least there's that form of communication already going out, right?
Yeah, and it just like gives them a reminder, if they thought of something. And then something that we do, mostly me, does a little bit differently, is that I like to, and I say this from the very beginning, I like to do this unofficial conversation chat with my couples, mostly the brides, on Instagram. Say they see a trend, a cool, fun activity to add to the wedding day, I tell them to share it with me. We can create like our own personalized collection that I only have access to. And that just sort of helps streamline. Like if they ask me something, then I can kind of like go back in the history and be like, oh yeah, this is based on this, or these are some of the things they sent me that they want to do. And it's just all there. Plus it's just like a nice unofficial way for us to kind of be in contact, right? So like I've helped people pick out dress colors for bridesmaids. It's nice because they know they can send me a message and that I'll get back to them when I can.
And this workflow really sets us up that we do a lot of the homework before the wedding day. And so then we arrive, we have a good understanding of the timeline, what we're doing. The couple knows what we're doing because we share that with them as well. We were able to meet with our team beforehand, and then it really becomes a stress-free day. And that's what we want for our clients, right? We relate to a lot of the type A brides that love to plan everything. We sometimes do like 5-minute increment stuff in our timelines, depending on what's there. And we put a lot of care and effort into finding out what's important for our clients and then really delivering on that, because in the end, that's what it's all about.
One thing that we've worked really, really hard on, like 4 years, is to become recommended vendors for planners and venues. I feel like right out the gate we knew how important that was, like how much business as a photographer, videographer, or maybe even any vendor would be if those businesses were referring us, right? It makes such a big difference when people find the venue and they like envision their day that they already have seen our work at that venue. I found is also one of the main things that also made a big difference when it came to why people have hired us as well.
Yeah, when your work shows up on someone's website and they refer you because they know that you've been there before, that you do good work, they pretty much vouch for you.
Yeah.
And for the couple, and the venues and planners are such key people to have as their preferred vendor because they're the first point of contact. If you want to get married, the first things you do is you find a date and a venue.
Yeah.
Or a planner that will help you find the date and the venue. Yeah. But really, once you get through that, then if you're on those people's list and you're one of their favorite people, then you know that it's almost like 50-50. They're going to pick somebody from that list or go with somebody else if they've already fallen in love with somebody. But it's kind of rare that somebody would hire a photographer before even getting a venue, for example.
I mean, it's not impossible. We have seen that happen where people have reached out to us to sort of see availability and things like that.
And we do love that too.
We love that.
When we can match our availability with the venue's availability so that they can make sure they get all the vendors that they actually want.
Like sometimes an inquiry comes through and it's like, we're already booked. Like, why didn't you ask us before you booked? But I feel like that we're going to see more and more of that where people are going back to like choosing a date. But we don't have to get into that. But essentially, having a spot with a venue is totally key when it comes to standing out. And we track where all of our inquiries come from. First is Google, second is Instagram, and third is vendor referral. Like that's literally where we get all of our business, is those three things.
Yeah, those three are kind of at the top,
They're
and then
like,
everything else is like down here.
They're like matched almost, right? Like in terms of volume. So you can't dismiss building up your reputation with people in that way.
And if you're wondering how do you become a preferred vendor at these venues or with planners, and it just comes through doing a lot of extras. We were never shy of doing things for free, or we're at a venue already and their team is there. It's like, let's just do a team photo.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have to be proactive. You have to be the one that suggests it, because a lot of times they don't want to bother you. You're working, whatever it is. But even in the off season is a great time to reach out to these people and just ask them, how can I help you? How can we create a relationship that will help you and help me, right?
Yeah.
And we're content creators, right? Like we do the photos and videos, which everyone needs on their websites, on their social media.
Yeah.
So don't discount how much value you can add to someone's business by doing just what you love. And at the same time, they can reciprocate by just putting you on lists, recommending you, whatever it is.
Yeah, it goes a long way. Like, it's definitely worth making the effort. Focus on things that are easy for you to do. And one of the main things that we did was Google reviews. We also looked at building an email list. That has also been something that has definitely generated us a lot of leads. And the last but not least is definitely social media. So there is many different platforms. I've seen people kind of go super viral on TikTok and they get all their business from there. I've seen people go viral on Instagram and they get it all from there. I've also seen it on Facebook. So I feel like you just have to kind of choose what works for you and what you feel comfortable doing. But don't be afraid to get out there, put your name out there. One of the things that we took this year, that I'm taking this year, is that I'm not posting for the clients that I have or I've had anymore. I'm posting for my future clients. And the same thing goes when I'm creating newsletters, or if I'm creating any kind of content, or if I'm asking people for reviews. Is I want that to stay fresh. I want that to feel like, I don't want to, when you land on somebody's page and it's like the last Google review is from 3 years ago, am I going to be excited to hire this person? Like, what have they been doing for the last 3 years? Are they even in business anymore, right? Or maybe on social media, their last post was from 6 months ago. Like, are they still in business? Are they still working? These are sort of things that I don't want anybody to have like a doubt in their mind that we are existing still and that we're proactively trying to get out there in front of people. I feel like people recognize us too, like so much more, even people that we have no idea who they are, but they know who we are because we show up a lot on social media. And that has shone through for us definitely throughout the years, right? People know who we are just because we've shown up.
And it's funny because to stand out compared to other photographers and videographers in our industry, you can really tell when wedding season starts, and that kind of falls off the rails with a lot of people.
Yeah, even us.
Yeah, even us. I'm sure the frequency, starts going down, but that's when you can really take off and be seen compared to other people and make a statement for yourself. It doesn't have to be like 10 posts a day, but just keep it consistent, keep it going. It's a lot of work, obviously, to do it on top of our usual workload, our seasonal workload, but it's really important to get that. And again, having those great reviews, and that plays into doing work for free, but strategically doing it and asking for reviews and that kind of stuff goes a long way.
You have to remind people, right? How many times would I have to ask you to do something before you do it, right? It's all about just really trying to remind people as much as you can, and just do your best, right? To show up, right? Feel like it doesn't have to be your face if you don't want it to be. Post some work, talk about what you're doing, just be present, and I promise you, like, you'll be known. And I feel like the bar is so low, right? If we look at our industry, if we look at our industry across the board, other photographers and videographers, even in our own city, like, are they doing, I feel like we post way more than any of them almost combined, right?
Yeah, we work hard.
And I still feel like we're not doing enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
But we're also comparing ourselves to people that do it a lot. We only see them do it a lot because they're successful, and we strive to be more like them.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm sure people looking at us think that we post a lot, right? And that we are able to maintain it and do all these things. But in reality, we all feel like we're not even keeping up, So I hope that even if we're posting as much as we are, we still feel like we're not doing enough. So you're not alone. You're just not alone.
We're not alone.
We're not alone.
We're in this together.
Last but not least, my love.
My wife.
That's my wife.
That's my wife.
We are a husband and wife team, and I think that really makes us stand out when it comes to.
But not only just husband and wife.
Hummus?
Not only hummus and pita bread, but we're also photo and video.
Yes.
Because there are other husband and wife teams in our industry, in our city, that do it, but they're either just photo or just video. Mm-hmm. So we do both, and I think that gives us a huge advantage. The more vendors you can get from the same company usually gives you synergy, just making people feel comfortable on the day of as well, because we've had our fair share of friction with other vendors that we've worked with, and obviously that doesn't happen because we've worked together a long time, and our team also works with us for a long time. So we all have the same vision, the same goal, and we just try to make it happen as fun as possible, really.
Yeah. I mean, as a husband and wife team, I understand why people hire two different companies. I really do, but there's such an advantage to working with us because we really do kind of work so cohesively. Like, it's so hard to understand the little things that I feel like people don't understand what I mean when we say that is that there's certain parts of the day where, because we do photo and video, like I shoot video too and you shoot photos too, you could take over certain parts for me. And I could take over certain parts for you. Like, I could check a tripod for you. And we've been in situations where the venue has gone and talked to the photographer, and we've been doing video, and they never even asked us if we were ready to go. They just asked the photographer, and the photographer's like, yeah, I'm ready. That just doesn't happen when it's me and you. I do not allow anything to happen until you're ready. Like, I am like the gatekeeper when it comes to stuff like that.
I feel like it's also just being a professional. Even if we were the photographers at a wedding and there was another videographer, I would make sure that they're ready before we go. So,
I know, but it's because we've been on the other side.
Yeah, right? It's true.
But a photographer doesn't get it. They just don't get it. They're like, how many times have we shot video? And we actually shot with another photo video team this year. We did video and they were just doing photo. And they took the couple off and didn't tell us they were going. And like, that blew my mind. Like, they absolutely know how important it is for us to be there. And they just did it anyways, right? Like, why would you take the couple and not tell the videographer.
Those are definitely things that would never happen with me and you, and
like
I
ever,
think,
ever.
no.
Like, I mean, if it was like a family photo and you were doing something else, I wouldn't go and get you to take a family photo or something. Like, there are some exceptions to our rules, but couples photos during a sunset or during, like, after the ceremony or something, like, I'm not just taking off and doing stuff without you. Or maybe I am, but I'm like, you know what? Like, he's coming. He knows. He's just like, I don't know, finishing up in the bathroom or something, right? Or I'll grab my second shooter or whatever, or start going with the couple and he'll catch up, right? There's that piece of the puzzle that people don't understand can be so annoying as if you as a vendor, if you're feeling like they don't have your back, right? Maybe it's just been our situations that we've been in. Maybe there are like certain photographer companies and certain videographer companies, and they're really good together and they do all of this perfectly without any ifs, ands, or buts, but I don't think we've ever come across anybody who said that it's been just like easygoing the whole time, right?
Well, most of the time the photographer obviously takes the lead and the video guy is just in the background, not really talking much, but I feel like being together really gives us permission also to just feed off each other and just talk about ideas that maybe you would be a little reserved to talk about. As a videographer, I remember when I first started and I was with other photographers and they had the good angle and they were getting, and I was off to the side and I was just hesitating. I'm like, oh, it's their show, so I'm gonna get kind of a secondary, crappier angle over here. My video is not gonna be as good as it could be, but I'm just gonna let them do their thing, and you kind of feel reserved. But no, we would just argue about it. I'm taking the good spot. No, I'm taking, and we work just.
Well, we take turns.
I know I'm just joking about it, but we do take turns getting the better shot, right? And we really just work together and make the couple feel as comfortable as possible.
And like, I'll guide you, or I'll guide the couple and be like, hey, we got this cool standing pose now, and they've been in the same pose for a while. We both got our shots. Like,
yeah, posing's a big one.
Let's move on to a new one. Whereas some photographers, I don't know why, but they'll keep the couple in the same pose for like 5+ minutes, and it's like we're done.
The speed at what we work at as well is huge. Like the tempo.
Oh yeah, we're so fast.
Yeah, we are fast compared to a lot of other people, and so working with somebody that's either faster or slower than you can really mess with your style as well.
Oh yeah, this year we shot photo and we had a videographer that was there from a different company, and I'll never forget like just how much he was like standing beside me because he was worried I wasn't gonna like include him on what was going on, when in reality I was like not gonna start anything until he was beside me.
That comes from experience.
But I just felt bad because it almost felt like he was like a lost puppy, you know? Like, I don't have that feeling with you. Like, we're like a team, we just do it together. Whereas this guy, he was like, you could tell he was stressed because he was worried that maybe I would just take off and do something and he'd miss it. But I understand the value of that, right? Like, because I've been on the other side, so I just don't do that.
And me and you, we bicker a little bit. We talk about where tripods need to be, how to do veil shots, and it's just funny, our dynamic. I think couples just kind of, they get it, right? Like, we're a married couple and they're getting married. So it's really funny to see them laugh at us because we're like an old married couple.
We're like, here's a glimpse into your future.
Yeah, it really does put them at ease and they can just be themselves, right? And especially if you contrast two vendors that are from different companies, different styles. One of them is like bubbly and funny, and the other one like isn't participating in a lot of the fun, then it can really change things. And when there's two of us kind of bouncing around and just being kind of foolish and just getting the couples to laugh, I think that's one of the biggest things of our brand, is that we just love having fun and
working together.
And love working together, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like couples really relate to us because of that. How many times have you had hot sauce at a wedding, or like had them deliver it to you as a gift, or they talk about making sure that you get food at prep in the morning? I hope that what people get out of all of this is understanding that the reason why we've gotten to this level is because we've put a lot of effort, we put a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of conversations like this, and to getting to where we are. And I don't see that ever stopping. I don't see us ever just like, okay, we're good now. Like, it's always going to evolve. It's always going to change. We're always going to update our website or change the way we do things. Like, it's just part of what we do. And I hope that if you're a newer photographer, videographer, and you're trying to figure out like what you do differently. Like, I can remember very vividly when we said we wanted to say that our couples should have fun on their wedding day. And I feel like that was just such a not like a normal thing to say.
That was out of the box for sure.
I feel like people really related to that. They wanted to have fun on their wedding day. Like, that was, at the end of it all, that's what they wanted, right? They wanted good quality stuff, but they also wanted to have fun. And so do what really speaks to you. And we're still trying to find the most perfect scenario of everything, of what we love to capture, right? Like, we don't always get that at every single one, but we're hoping we just get closer and closer each time.
Yeah, that's definitely our style, but it doesn't have to be anyone else's style.
Yeah.
We know some photographers that maybe they're not as outgoing and crazy as we are, but they do a lot of cool shots with the couple, and they're very artsy, and the way that they play with the light and shadows. And I wouldn't say that's specifically our style. Like, I love the photos and videos that we take, but more of like an experience on the day of than a cool photo that you have at the end.
If you have,
and that's what you got to lean into. That's what makes us different than everyone else, but also there's a lot of other successful photographers and videographers in the area, and they just do something different, but you got to lean into it. You got to kind of pick your niche and then go with it and really just start advertising it.
People know that you're like the hot sauce guy, the video guy, the fun video guy. Like, the same thing with me. Like, they know that I'm a photographer that wants to have fun. You're going to be moving around. You're not going to be sitting there bored. We're just not those type of people. Like, we want to get in and get it done and then move on and like move to the next thing, or let you enjoy this time while we go do something else. Like, the reason that we've gotten to this level is because we've figured out what we like to do, and we've found people that like us for doing what we like to do.
Which is funny, because before we thought we were doing something so different, right? Of the whole fun thing, and it didn't really catch on right away.
No, it took years. I can remember sharing the website and people be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, what a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, why do you edit the videos so fast?
Yeah, I remember I was like one of the first in the city that did fast videos. Mm-hmm. And then now everyone wants it, right? Now we're entering the age of the content creator wedding stuff, the faster
seconds.
Yeah, the faster transitions, and we're really like the pioneers in the city that got it going. But at the beginning it was adversity, and we didn't even know if it was going to be successful, because we're like, who wants to have a big dance floor? A lot of weddings is all about, you know, being pretty and
romantic.
and romantic, and we're telling people to like jump on his back and run and
get some smoke bombs.
Yeah, smoke bombs. And people are like,
champagne everywhere.
Weird. Yeah, spray it at us.
So, anyways.
But it's all about staying true to yourself.
So hire us, the perfect weirdos that will capture your day as authentically as we are. Right? We're pretty authentic. Love you.
Love you.
Pew, pew, pew.
Oh, finger gun.